Welcome back to the Wirraway versus Heclapar Mail Mail campaign. It is the 21st of February, 1942, and I'm your host, Wirraway. I have an operation going on in the Dutch East Indies today. Preparing for finish that thought. One of my submarines sinks a small transport. So I have an operation going on in the Dutch East Indies today. I have some what should be low risk attacks on some of his ports where he has ships dashed away in India, in still the Philippines, and a dock base uh, off Sumatra. So we'll see. And he continues to send unescorted transports. I assume they came from Madras towards Colombo, where a Japanese submarine wolf pack has been having a bit of a field day. So this is the landing at Balikpapan. Minesweepers are in the task force, but still one of the destroyers hits a mine. That's okay. These are all very expendable ships. I did not send the minesweeping task force in ahead of the transports because uh, they tend to get chewed up badly by any coastal defense guns, and I haven't disrupted its base with bombardments because it's an oil center. So it looks like the two SNLF units are going to get ashore in order. They're veteran units, both with experience, I think about 75. And you're in the amphibious bonus phase still, so no prep is really needed. So far, so good. He's not actively managing his submarines particularly, at least not some of them. I have to watch this. I've allowed the base there on northern Java to become operational again. There's a reason for that. I want to take the oil at Arapo intact, and I'm using my bombers to disrupt his units. Some fouls. It looks like he has a AVD still in Fort Davao. Recon sighted a ship in this dot base port at Muntak. What it is, can't decent confirmation. Kate's didn't find anything when they bombed. It could be. Oh, it's a damaged submarine. A-14 has been hiding out at Muntak Port. It must be very badly damaged. Or perhaps out of fuel. So she was hit by a 250-pound bomb. See if the Nells find anything. The Nells did not. Airfield suppression mission. Sallies and Lilies. Disabling, disrupting his units at Teshipo. Sonya's doing some limited airfield suppression. I dropped their altitude down to 10,000 feet just to test the effectiveness, current effectiveness of his AA. Looks like I'm going to have to go back up again. It's like one of my destroyer minesweepers pretty significantly damaged. Not surprised by this. More port strikes, this time in India. Looks like all he had was some small minesweepers. And wouldn't expect larger ships to still be in port. But this is a very low risk operation for me, because all of his fighters are on the other side of India. The Yamagata Maru is badly damaged and on fire, so she will probably be a loss. Almost certainly. But we'll see. Okay, we're going to be ready to attack here. Going to be ready to attack here. Need to look into why I'm losing these units in this exchange, but it's not a critical thing. Hmm. I'm definitely getting the worst of this artillery exchange, doubly so. Jamshedpur, second major step in our encirclement of Calcutta. You just hit a battalion. See if the 41st Regiment finally takes Djambi and then the status of the base. You can see these units are all completely worn out. I left them one last retreat path. Generally speaking, surrendering in the hex uh, seems to increase the risk of the infrastructure being destroyed, but that just may be an illusion. So what I have to do here, and I'm ready to do it, but I'm going to have to pull these unformed regiments out of Clark and place them with a formed division because the regiments just seem to get beat up by the artillery. Um, we're just about ready to try to take Manila again, but we have to hold Clark while we're doing that. So uh, these losses are acceptable, but I'd like to find a way to minimize them further. Okay, so looks like he's moved the Samarinda uh, unit in. Okay, speed through this. So the most important thing to me here is the oil at Djambi. It looks like it came out in shape. Just lost 7. And I left them a retreat path. There is a base right here that they can retreat to. Um, some people don't do this. I tend to do it. And that will take this base, and there's no more supply. So these guys are done. They're just going to starve to death. I'm ready to take Tarapo. It only has 36 oil and a refinery. Uh, these units are combat ineffective. We've landed successfully at Balikpapan. Let's check the status of our task force there. So the DMSs aren't really in danger of sinking. DD Minakaze will probably be able to make port also, but Yamagata Maru is likely done for. That's okay. And the two Naval Guard units are ashore in good order, so they can go ahead and attack. And I have a third Naval Guard unit afloat. He'll go into Samarinda. Uh, I won't chase since the base force is here. I won't chase after them. Hmm. What is, yeah. Okay, nothing else. Let's say there's 4 ships in port. We hit an AVD. There's a submarine here. Recon says there's just about nothing left afloat at Calcutta, nothing left afloat at Diamond Harbor. You'll note all his fighters are at Hyderabad and at Bombay. Bombay is a very logical anchor base for him. It's heavy urban, it's on the coast, so it's easy for him to resupply. Um, yeah, my guess is that these are mostly the damaged fighters and bombers that were railed out of Madras. We're just about ready to enter Madras. It's like 2 more days. We blocked the rail lines out of Madras, so if he was planning on trying to rail them out, and as I said, we're going to continue our effort now to prepare the conditions for taking Calcutta. Okay, that's good. I promised that I would talk about aces. The cover art for this video shows a picture of 0 fighters. The reason for that is essentially all the aces are 0 drivers. You don't have a lot of aces, and they're generally from third coup and the carriers. There is one from Tynan coup. You can see I've lost a couple, either missing or killed. So some of the Oscar pilots do have some kills, but there's only one non-zero uh, driver in like the top 20. In terms of the most experienced pilots, Sabur Sakai has 3 kills. He got 2 of them yesterday, B-17 kills. And Nishizawa uh, has 3 kills. I've lost very few pilots overall, and very few of my experienced pilots. So, and that's not too unusual for this stage of the war, where the zeros with their experienced pilots are dominant. What else can I show you today? Might be worth just talking about ship upgrades briefly. So one of the key decisions you have to make as the Japanese is your destroyer upgrades and to a lesser extent your cruiser upgrades. Your momies aren't really good for anything as a destroyer, um, though you do, mid 43, you get your Mod 2 uh, depth charges and the Type 13 radar. Your other option on your momies is go to uh, convert them to APDs, and you do get um, decent utility out of the MOMI APDs, and they get radar. I think their first upgrade a little sooner than as a destroyer, so that is always an option. I tend to convert the MOMIs to uh, um, I tend to convert them to APDs. The Wakatakis, let's just disband these quickly, and you can see some of the differences here. Your Mitsukis, you can convert these to APTs or go the destroyer route. I tend to keep these as destroyers. They get their full upgrade, including air search radar. Um, they have decent range, so they make functional escorts for um, tankers, etc. So I tend to leave these as destroyers. Remember, if you convert to an APD, you can include them in a replenishment task force. So that's a key disadvantage. I can do a whole section on Japanese destroyers in a couple videos. Maybe I will. I want to point out another key upgrade depending on your approach. That's why. So your Kenru class cruisers can upgrade to AA cruisers on February first day of February 42. It takes 6 months to upgrade. These are this is probably the most useful thing to do with these ships. You get a decent suite of essentially 5-inch AA guns. Um, they're 29 knots. They've got decent range. So, they make solid escorts for your carrier task force, particularly the one with the division with Kaga in it, which is the slowest of your divisions. So these Tenru class cruisers, which are World War One era, essentially light cruiser, destroyer leader, are good for little else. But this is a nice upgrade, so don't miss it. It's available 1 February. The other light classes don't upgrade in such a useful way. And this is an important decision to make because your scout cruisers, which also have a decent AA suite, uh, though only about half the guns of the Tenru class upgrades, if you convert these to a light carrier, as many people do, uh, the then that upgrade takes a year, takes them out. You lose the benefit of the decent AA suite on these aircraft, on these ships as far as escorts go. So just something to think about. You don't have to decide on your strategy for your CSs until a year into the war. Those Penru class light cruisers are very useful upgrades. Again, good for little else. Anyway, good turn, light casualties. The invasion of Balikpapan seems to be in good shape. Um, we'll go after Samarinda and uh, wrap up this part of the campaign. Um, use a single special naval landing force unit. So maybe two at Tarakan. It's times three terrain, and then a single one to work around Amiri and Brunei over the coming weeks. Now that we have Cagayan under our control, we can suppress Clark. Clark's a long way away, uh, and we can suppress Bandoing. Um, so we just have to worry about two level three airfields still in range of our oil at this stage, both of which we can continue to suppress and significantly reduce the risk these going to fly in any heavy bombers to try to damage the oil significantly. Only other, uh, yeah, we've captured Djambi essentially intact. So all the oil on Sumatra is in our hands and very lightly damaged. Only other major oil source that's useful to us is Magwe, and we're positioning ourselves as we encircle Calcutta, make sure we limit any chance of him to use these airfields. We can take uh, Magwe and then just have to worry about suppressing Lasho, which is currently just level 2, and Kunming, which is going to be hard to keep in supply. Yeah, next turn, uh, in the coming turns, we'll make an attack here, and we're 3 days away from our attack on Madras. So far, so good. And you can see that his main defensive line is in the good terrain around Bombay and Hyderabad. He still has some troops in Calcutta. If he follows his pattern, um, he'll leave them there. He won't try to evacuate. He won't try very hard to evacuate them, but we'll see. In the next few days, he'll have to make a decision whether to try to evacuate them or not. Anyway, look forward to our next chance to talk, and hope you have a great weekend. It happens to be a weekend here in Weston, Texas.